Okay, we are live.
Yay! That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, and should I confirm that people got on okay, Stephanie? Or should
That would be a good.
okay.
I think I don't think they can chat because I think they're watching the YouTube link. So, you know
Okay,
what I
I
can
know
do?
that they can't chat, but I've got them on Voxer here in groups.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they're
Let
saying
me,
I can't see you. We just went live. Just went live. Okay, because they said, is it on? I don't see anything. Me either, me either. But that might have been before we went live.
okay, because I can hear feedback right now. Hold on, because I'm open.
Okay.
I have the link open, so we just started talking.
Okay. So maybe
Wait, where'd you go?
delayed. It might be delayed, like a second or
Yeah.
two or a minute or two.
So let's see. Did they update?
Oh, I think they can see us now. Somebody just said, love the haircut. Thank you, Hillary.
Okay, it was delayed because I started hearing us talking. I'm like, wait, oh, this is very confusing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
so let me just confirm you guys can see. So I don't need to tell them to refresh or anything. Okay,
No, it's just a little delayed.
I just heard uh, Bethany told me she can see us too. So I think we're good. I think we're good. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and get started. So you guys, welcome. We initially set up this webinar as a part of our DIQ boot camp that we're doing in July to support our DIQs and having a strong July and having a successful, strong month in a month in Mary Kay where, you know, sometimes people check out in July, but we didn't want that to happen, especially with our DIQs who have such an important goal in their heart and who are really in the throes of building their leadership. And it's such a learning curve when you're in DIQ to grow as a leader, maintain your personal business, and then support these new people that are coming on. So anyways, that's why we wanted to do this boot camp. And I kicked it off last week with our DIQs only. But then this week I did invite our sales directors because I'm really excited about the topic that we're going to talk about today. And we do have a guest speaker, a very special guest speaker. Stephanie O'Brien is on. And this happens to be our very own Sarah Light. It's her sister. And I think Sarah is watching right now. And so it is Sarah Light's sister. And I met Stephanie a couple years ago. I think I was in Michigan for your business debut at your house. We met, I think that's been like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. So I've known her for several years. I'm really excited about the information that she has to share with you guys. And it's a lot about DISC, which you all have heard. You're familiar with the DISC personality profile. We talk about that a lot in Mary Kay, but she's going to go deeper with it, a lot deeper with it, and really help you to master it and help you to overcome some of your own personal obstacles that you face using the DISC profile, but then also helping you to teach your team members and coach your team members to overcome their obstacles. So you can personally apply some of the concepts she's going to share, but then you can also use this to coach and train and teach and mentor the women you're working with. And so I'm really excited, and I did want to read her her profile here before we get started, or before I let her get on, just so you guys can hear more official introduction. Let me pull it up on my computer here. Okay, I've got it. So, okay, so Stephanie helps numerous people break through toxic beliefs and mindsets that have held them back from achieving the success they most desire. She empowers them to make their lives whole by helping them balance 7 areas in their life: family, financial, work, personal development, spiritual, health, and social. She is a master coach that is certified through the 48 Days Coaching Mastery Program. She is taught directly by Dan Miller, the New York Times bestselling author of the book 48 Days to 48 Days to the Work You Love, to coach people who are stuck in their life, career, and business through the process of uncovering their purpose to thrive in work that they love. So you can visit her website at movedbypurpose.net to get inspired on your journey by achieving your highest levels of success. She also has her own podcast on iTunes and Stitcher titled the Move by Purpose Podcast. And so, Stephanie, thank you for your time today. You know, Stephanie reached out to me and just offered this as a service to us because she is familiar with what we do in Mary Kay, from building her own business with Mary Kay several years ago, and then also having her sister as a Cadillac sales director. She's very familiar with our business, with the struggles that we face, with the business model that we have. And so I just thank you for your time today and your willingness to invest in our people and share your knowledge and experience and expertise with us. We really appreciate it. And I'm excited to hear the information that you have to share. So.
Yes, well, thank you. It is an honor to be here and to just share my expertise. And so I can get started on the slides, and I will shut your camera off and mute you so they
Sounds
can't
good.
see you in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do that. All right, and then do a screen share. Mm-hmm. Okay, and present. Okay, so let me get started, make sure everything's working. So I'll pass the introduction because Leah did a good job of that herself. So the work that I do with my clients has to do a lot with overcoming some setbacks or challenges. They find themselves in repetitive patterns or cycles, or they have these really big goals. They want to move forward in their business or life or career, and they can't seem to do that. And so I process with them some of the mindsets or things that may be underlying that prevent them from moving forward. In addition, I'm very big on working with them on the DISC, which is just that personality profile of understanding your wiring. And why you need to know the DISC is really it's self-awareness. It's just being in tune to how we are created, how each of us is uniquely wired. But there's like a core thing that drives us and motivates us and causes us to behave and think the way that we do. And you need to be aware of how that is within yourself, and then also be able to identify it in other people. Because once you realize that, you can really have very strong, meaningful relationships. It's about empowered and strong relationships. And when you have a strong connection, especially since a lot of you guys are DIQs, you need that trust and that rapport, and you're going to need to know how to lead somebody. And to lead somebody, you need to understand their language. And their language is really their personality, the DISC. And then the negative, why you need to identify negative mindsets, that could be an underlying cause of why they're not moving forward. Why are they not taking action? Why do they say that they'll do and that they agree with you and then not do anything? Why do they get really excited and you come up with a plan of action and you spend all your time coaching them and then nothing happens? So usually there is an underlying cause for that. So I can help you learn what those are and how to motivate them past those. Now, keep in mind that you can do the best you can. It ultimately comes down to the person's personal choice. You can be a really great coach, but if that person is choosing not to move forward, I mean, this isn't a magic solution. Each must choose at the end, but I can help give you the tools and the powerful questioning and learn how to speak their language and have that connection with them by using the DISC. So you guys are already familiar, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. You know, the D style stands for dominant. Their greatest fears are being taken advantage of. You know, they're very decisive. They're a great leader. Weakness is that they're perceived as impatient. They can hurt other people's feelings. So we are designed to want comfort, and we avoid our fears. So being taken advantage of it with a D personality, or losing control, that's another way to word this fear. This drivenness, this decisiveness, this wanting to be in charge and move things forwards, they're doing that because they're wanting to move away from their fear. So that is the motivator behind why they do what they do. That's why they behave that way. And you'll see that with all of them. So the I style is influencing, and they love to be in front of people. They're very, very social. And what drives them with wanting to be so social and so fun and energetic and to get everybody to get along is because they don't want to experience their greatest fear of rejection. With that, they can be so consumed with fun and getting along with everybody and getting everyone to like them, and just, they will not be that good with details or organization. And they can also interrupt a lot. That's also kind of an insecurity thing, where they just want to make sure that they get their words in, and they are not the greatest listeners either. So that's some of the weaknesses that I's are. They tend to overcommit and underdeliver as well. They really believe they can follow through on all the things they are committing to without having some foresight into having margin of error. Something might go wrong, and then things fall apart, and that's where the disorganization is. The S style, their greatest fear is loss of security. So with that, that's going to motivate them to want to be stable and consistent. They're going to resist change. They want to avoid confrontation. These are very good team players. They are really, really gifted comforters. They bring the gift of comfort to the table. They are really great listeners. These are the ones that if you just need to vent or cry, these are the ones you call on, because they will just listen to you. They don't even necessarily try to fix it. They're just listening to you, and they'll give you a hug, and they'll just go through great measure to just bring you comfort. With that, they will avoid confrontation, and they can be a pushover. So sometimes they can be so people-oriented and they just want that peace. They don't want to rock the boat, that they can be afraid of, I guess when it comes to a sale, be afraid of making somebody uncomfortable. Or when it comes to being in a leadership role, they don't want to appear too pushy. That's going to be a common fear, is they don't want to be too pushy. You're going to hear that one a lot. And then the C style, these people think like computers. I am fascinated by the way these people think, primarily because there is on my disc assignment, there's that C point was so far below, it barely existed in my life. And I just love the way these people think. They're so detail oriented. They're able to foresee problems that come up and offer solutions. They're extremely organized. That's what they bring to the table. They bring the gift of organization, and they're motivated to avoid criticism. That's why they're so detail oriented. That's why they are so thorough in research, and they're so accurate, and they need facts and data, and they need precision, because they don't want to be criticized. Okay, so that was a brief kind of quick crash course on the disc, or more like a review. Now we're getting into how to motivate your team using the disc. So Ds are motivated by success and achievement. If you have a D style team member, will most likely want to remind them. What's going to speak to them is how they can get to leadership. So if you have a D-style consultant, they're going to be motivated by being able to be a director or national director. They like that position of authority or that leadership. They're motivated by that. They also like status and prestige. So monetary rewards, trips, prizes, things like that kind of showcase a prestigious kind of status, that is going to motivate them. So let's say you are a style that just isn't motivated by that. Like if you have the opposite style of an S style and you value relationships, family, teamwork, if you're speaking like, oh, just think of how this is going to change your family life, change your family tree, just think of the the people in your lives, how they're gonna see you doing this. And while that's beautiful and it does matter, and I'm sure, I mean, I have a D style in me as well, that does matter, but but I'm a very driven person. I'm very results oriented, and I just want that that leadership role. Eyes are going to be motivated by fun and recognition. So if you want to motivate them to get going and get moving, think of like incentives, so to say, like where they can be celebrated with a fun party or event. So money isn't always going to move an I style, but if they have the opportunity to socialize and to be celebrated, that is going to be their language, and that will be a proper incentive for them to move. They also, I styles are probably really good at their I story, because I styles are storytellers. They love to influence people and inspire people. So having that opportunity given to them will be most fulfilling and motivating for them. As I mentioned, the S style likes security and safety. They're going to be motivated by close relationships. So thinking about how them stepping out and doing something that is meaningful, that matters to them, for an S style to go after a goal they've always wanted, the example that sets for their children, or the way that it can help bring in more income, bring in more revenue to support your family or to support your dreams. They're also going to be motivated by teamwork. So they're going to be really supportive team members. They're going to want to see their leader successful. They're going to want to see everybody successful. So they are going to be really supportive with the thought of collectively doing things together. Now, eyes are going to want exactness. They want clear expectations. So if you have a team member that is a C style, let's say you're an I style and you have a C style team member, your inspiring stories, however wonderful they are not necessarily going to move this person to action. They're going to ask you about data. They're probably going to ask about what's the average success rate of this, or how many people do I need to call? What is the script? They want that exactness in the rules. And as long as they have that sense of security or assurance that they're doing things right and following a clear, proven model or method or routine, they will step forward with more confidence in meeting their goals. Now, I want to help you identify negative mindsets. And these things are pretty tricky. First of all, I want to encourage everyone to see if they can identify it in yourself, because introspection is a really big key. A very important part of leadership is to make sure you are leading yourself You are taking care of yourself. You are loving yourself, not in this self-serving, self-centered way, but in a way to be the best that you can be. We are to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Some people will take that as we only love our neighbor and we neglect ourselves, or I'm just going to be so focused on loving myself. Like there's a nice balance. With the mindset, there are 4 things I'm going to talk about. There's many negative and toxic mindsets that people struggle with, but I'm going to talk about the 4 biggies that I find most common and most consistent in people that get stuck. I want you to see if maybe you've fallen into this pattern, or give you the signs that maybe you may be about to, and how to break free of that cycle. And then this is a tool that will help guide you to guide someone else out of these repetitive cycles. So the first one is the fear of rejection. And as I said, this is common in the I style. Now, this is not just limited to I styles only, but you're going to see it most prevalent because, as I stated earlier, their greatest fear is rejection. And so they will have difficulty selling their product or service. These are probably going to be team members that may likely be terrified to make their booking calls, or to go for what I call the ask. Other people in sales speak could call it the close, where you are basically leading them to either make an appointment or make a purchase. You're leading them to make a decision. And so people can build a great rapport with somebody. I know you guys, some of you might do warm chatter. I styles are going to be really great at warm chatter. They can strike up a conversation with just about anyone and be really, really sociable. They get 90% of the selling process done. But when it comes time to say, hey, I sell Mary Kay. I would love to book a party with you. I think it would be really fun. It would be girls' night. You can just be pampered, whatever you guys say. That you don't even say that. You don't make the offer because you freeze, because you're afraid of the word no, because no hurts, or no stings. No doesn't feel good. It really doesn't feel good to anyone, but it especially doesn't feel good to people that have this larger out of proportion fear of rejection. Other clues that a person may struggle with the fear of rejection: they might have self-pity for being alone. So you might want to listen to what people are saying. What are they talking about? Let's say you ask them, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great, but I just had a bunch of friends that got together and I wasn't included. Or were they just shut down because they feel left out. There's also an inability to receive correction or constructive feedback. This is what I call coachability, or maybe teachability. If they're resisting any type of healthy feedback, because healthy feedback is really, the person giving the healthy feedback is rooting for you. They are for you. They are on your side and they want to see you succeed. But if someone has a deep-seated fear of rejection rooted in there, it's going to be hard for them to see it that way. And so you'll notice maybe some defensiveness when you're offering some helpful insight. Another thing is taking someone's no as a personal rejection, a rejection about you personally, rather than that own individual's decision to decline. People will say no for their own personal reasons. And it's rarely ever they're saying no because they don't like you. It's most likely they're saying no because they don't have the time to do it, or they have other priorities right now that they're focusing on. There's so many other reasons. Think of how many times you've declined something. Okay, so a poverty or lack mindset. All personality styles are vulnerable with this, and this is usually affiliated with feelings of guilt of financial gain and success. And when you're trying to build a business, if you are battling with this lack mindset or guilt of making money or being successful, you're going to have challenges moving forward. Or let's say you do move forward, but this is not dealt with, you're going to find patterns of self-sabotage, or you're eventually going to get stuck. And so here are 3 ways to identify. There's a constant money fixation, usually on what you don't have and on what others do have. Statements such as, I hate rich people. I mean, that sounds strong. I mean, maybe it might not be that I hate rich people, but it could listen to comments. Is it, oh, rich people are so out of touch with reality. Those business owners, they're all scam artists. They're all liars. Listen to what is coming out of your mouth, and that's an indicator that there's something going on. And then there's fear-based decision making. Have you ever seen someone experience more anguish at losing $10 than earning $100? They're so focused on what they're losing or what they don't have, they're not taking the time to acknowledge the blessings they have before them, such as the gift of $100. It's only what I lost. So if this resonates with you, I will go into how to overcome that. Or if you know people that are struggling with this, or you can identify some of this with your team members, I will later get to how to overcome that or coach someone past it. Okay, so a fear of success. So you self-sabotage. Fear of success and fear of failure often go hand in hand. They're opposites, but they present themselves often in the same person. For example, you may fear failure, or you may fear success because you fear failure, if that makes any sense. So you don't want to get to a certain level of success and then fail, because you're afraid of losing all of the success. You don't want to experience that pain. So you will begin to undermine your efforts or self-sabotage. These are affiliated with feelings of unworthiness. So maybe comments and when I say comments, these may not be something that you say out loud or you'll have to read between the lines. You'll have to be a little bit intuitive. Hear the message behind their words. What is your internal dialogue? What's the conversation you're having with yourself? I could never do this because I struggle with or have done that. Those are feelings of guilt. You have of regrets, failures, or mistakes in the past. Remind you of why you really have no business accepting success, or why you can't do it, or why you don't have what it takes. And all of these are lies. And I'm encouraging you not to agree with them, and to get people in your life to call those lies out. And as a leader, if you can maybe listen for any type of lies you sense that your team member might be experiencing or believing, they're going to have to learn to kind of help redirect them, and you point them to the truth. So next slide. A fear of failure, as I said, comes hand in hand often with a fear of success. Common in all styles, especially the S and the C style. Really the C style, because of their perfectionistic nature, which is such a beautiful gift they bring with that value of excellence and precision. I mean, they really prevent a lot of chaos and things from happening because of that thoroughness. But also, they can have a reluctance to try new things or get involved in challenging projects, because if they're not confident they will succeed at it, or if it's not a guaranteed success, they don't want to take the risk. Okay, self-sabotage, again, that's procrastination, excessive anxiety, failure to follow through on goals. I's are really prone to this. Now, I already mentioned that I's can overcommit and underdeliver, which failure to follow through on goals, that's another way of putting it. That type of behavior doesn't necessarily mean that there's a fear of failure there. It could be a disorganization thing. You're going to have to look for other things with that rather than just assuming if they're an I type of personality that there's a self-sabotage there, because realize that they have a challenging time staying organized. So accountability is going to be really big for all styles, but I styles will need that, like, I'm going to do this and I'm checking in kind of thing to get it done. At least that's the case for me. So low self-esteem or self-confidence. Again, this goes along the lines with some of the other slides. I'll never be good enough to get that promotion. I'm not smart enough to get accepted into grad school. I don't have what it takes to be a director. I'm not a good leader because of X, Y, and Z. Challenge those scripts, challenge the lies you're agreeing with. And I already touched on perfectionism, and just an encouragement for those that are kind of fighting perfectionism. And perfectionism is not just limited to C styles. When there's an insecurity present, everyone can start saying it's not right yet. I'm not ready to commit yet. I'm not ready to take action yet because this, and this isn't done. So remind yourself that imperfect action is better than inaction. Okay, so how to overcome the fear of rejection. So now we're getting into how to process this, how to get past this within yourself, and then how to coach someone through this. You face the fear head on. I mean, asking questions. What are you afraid of? Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? You need to bring to light what's in the darkness, because as soon as you shine the light on what is dark, it no longer has power over you. A lot of people want to avoid their fears. They don't want to acknowledge them. They don't want to voice them. They don't, but it's running wild in their life, and it's kind of controlling them. It's influencing what they do, how they think, how they speak, and then the outcome of what happens in their life. So you need to write it down, share about it with a trusted friend. Let's give a lighter example of, I'm afraid to make this call because I don't want this person to dislike me. I don't want to interrupt their life and ask for this because they're busy, and you give all these reasons as to why. One, it automatically means they don't like you. Two, you're automatically saying you're interrupting them, and you're already convinced yourself before you've made the call that it's what you're doing is a bad thing, and then it's going to end in rejection. And then let's say you do push through that, and then that's exactly what you get. You're reinforcing the lie. I mean, it's great that you make the call. Congratulations, you got to push through, but you also got to fight the fears, the voice of fear that is speaking to you. So you want to just acknowledge it and say, like, what am I afraid of? And then, will I be okay? If this really does happen, will I be okay? What am I going to do? What does that mean? And more times than not, you're going to see it's very irrational. And then you can redirect yourself. You can just remind yourself of the truth, that what you do is valuable, that what you do is a gift. It's not interrupting anybody. You're offering something that will benefit a woman's life. You'll make her feel beautiful. You'll give her much needed pampering time. You're going to present an opportunity that can change her life. If you frame it in that way, you'll be much more likely to make those calls. Also, think more about the person who will miss out on the opportunity or experience if you do not make that offer. So I want you to kind of picture the people that you're serving. And when you're fighting that fear of rejection, let's give the scenario of a woman that's got small children that barely has any time to herself anymore. And, she has spit up on her all the time, food thrown at her. She barely has any time to get together. I mean, get herself ready and to have just alone time. And she is just wanting for an opportunity to have a few hours to herself, to just be pampered, to just have her own time, to spend time on her. She wants to feel beautiful again. She wants to connect with people other than her children. Although she loves her children, she wants that time. But you don't call her because you've given into a fear of rejection. So I want you to remind yourself, every time you're tempted to get into that fear, think of the other people that are missing out if you do. Okay, that's really powerful. That really helped me push through. You got to push through it. And then part of learning to deal with rejection is to accept that rejection is a purposeful part of our destiny and lives. So you don't have to fear that rejection will happen. It will. I wish I could say that you'll never be rejected in life. It will happen, but you'll be okay. And it has lessons to teach you. And it really, if you choose to have a softened heart and change the way you think about it, it makes you a more compassionate person. So, on to overcoming poverty and lack mentality. Listen to what you're saying. Are you talking about money all the time? Are you, I don't have enough money for this. It's not in my budget. I mean, okay, well, if it's not in my budget, you do need to set that boundary if you are on a budget. But I'm broke as a joke. These are common statements of, I don't get paid enough for this. Just listen to statements like that. Because you don't want to recreate that as your reality. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So this is why I'm telling you to listen to what you are saying. Or listen to what your team members are saying. Start observing it, because you'll be able to identify this in your team members or in yourself, or even in your loved ones' lives, friends, family members. Observe how you feel when someone else has accomplished something you want, that you've been working really hard for. Okay, so this is a tough one. So let's say you are working for your car, and then someone else becomes the consultant after you and gets their car before you. Or you've been in DIQ for however long, and someone else comes in and they're director. How do you feel? Now, it's okay to be a little bit disappointed, a little bit frustrated, but do you have almost hate for their success? Are you very jealous, envious? These feelings are very big indicators of something bigger that's happening, because our ultimate goal is that we want to rejoice. We want to rejoice when other people get things that we want, because it means that their success is your success, that rising tide raises all ships. It's not they're getting all the clients, they're getting all the quality team members, they're getting all the best customers, they're making all the sales, and because they're all successful, that means less for you. It's not you're taking a piece of pie, you're multiplying it. It's multiplying. It's not subtraction. So if you find that you've challenged that might be how you're thinking, how your mind is processing things, and you want to do some more inner work on that, or help somebody push through it. So what does your mind focus on when you think of being wealthy yourself? Do you get scared? Do you automatically assume that you're going to be greedy? Or that you're going to have to compromise your integrity? Or when you see other affluent people, are you judging them, thinking or assuming that they have no they have no work-life balance, or that they've ignored their kids, they've ignored their health? While that may be the case for some people, it's not the case for all. Money is amoral. Money takes on the character of the person whose hands it is in. So whether you are poor or rich, it doesn't matter. Like it's about character. So just challenge that too. And to help you overcome, this is what I did because I struggled with this myself. I'm being very transparent and I wasn't even aware of it. This was a long process for me to break through this. And what I did was I had to read, listen, and view as much material as I could get my hands on that transformed my mind, my heart, and my attitude. I had to reprogram what was programmed into me. What I had to stop agreeing with lies and open myself to receiving the truth. So this may take a while to work through. So moving on, that's a big one for me, or for others. So how to overcome the fear of success. I'm going to provide Leah a copy of this because I don't have time to go through every single question. I encourage you to have these written down, to review, answer yourself, and then to also use to ask your own team members questions. These are like good coaching questions. So some examples are, how can I stop those self-sabotaging behaviors? How will my friends and family react if I accomplish this goal? And what ways will my life change? Just really get yourself focused on what will change, what will happen, and if you're okay with that. And if you're okay with that and you come up with a plan, create a backup plan. That's what I say here, to address your fears. You set boundaries with those you need to in order to maintain your integrity. Just because you get a promotion or that you have more responsibility doesn't mean now that nobody's going to like you or that you're going to have to give up time with your family, because you are responsible for setting boundaries. So you're the one that sets those. And if you need more information on boundaries, I recommend that you pick up the book Boundaries by Cloud and Townsend, because that's a really powerful book too to help you process through that. S styles often have boundary issues. Again, all personalities can struggle with it, but S styles have a really hard time saying no to people because they want to please them. And I types as well. So you need to set those boundaries and protect your goals and protect what you want and what's best for your life. And then be prepared that in some cases, some people will get jealous. Unfortunately, everybody has their own issues. There will be some people that might not like seeing you succeed. And you're probably better off without that negativity anyway. So think about, letting go of the old and embracing the new. So how to overcome the fear of failure. You want to analyze all potential outcomes. That goes with like acknowledging fear, writing that down, being prepared. So let's say it's a high stakes situation you're in. I can't think of a relevant specific one for you, but maybe a life thing, a large investment maybe. And you're trying to decide if you should go through with it or not. How will your life change if it gives you a return? What will happen if you don't? What will happen if you lose it all? So you need to analyze all potential outcomes. You need to think and speak positively, which is, I will give you a list of affirmations at the end of this. I highly recommend that you start affirming yourself. You need to change the dialogue within your mind and think and speak positively over yourself to extinguish the lies that you've agreed with. Consider the worst case scenario that goes, set small attainable goals. So I want to say that there are people that have big picture vision, beautiful gift that you have. Sometimes you can get so focused on your big picture vision that you freeze up and don't know what steps to take, or you get distracted, disorganized, and you're all over the place. So what you want to do is break that goal down and set small attainable goals. That will help you. And then you celebrate the small wins. Make sure you celebrate. These styles, especially here, what you get so results oriented, and I'm speaking to myself here. You can get so focused on the big picture outcome that you're not happy until you reach. I'm only going to be happy when I get my car. I'm only going to be happy when I get to national. Like, instead of celebrating the victories, and I'm going to use an example. It's a biblical example modeled after our Creator. So whether you have these beliefs or not, you can just take the lesson from it. So God created the world in 7 days. Every day, day 1, he creates and he says it is good. Day 2, he creates and he says it is good. He took the time to celebrate the small wins. He did not wait until the entire thing was created. He was modeling the importance of celebrating the small stuff and celebrating the small wins. So just make sure you give yourself time to slow down and acknowledge the growth. And this is my expounding. So here are the resources. I don't think you can click on any of them. These are all linked up about recommended books. So Overcoming the Poverty or Lack Mindset. I highly recommend reading the book Thou Shalt Prosper. Think and Grow Rich. That's all just reprogramming your train of thought. This is the imposter syndrome is another thing. I didn't touch on that, but that correlates with fear of success. So you can read that. So I'm going to hand this or send this to Leah. She could probably upload it or send it out to you guys, and then you can have all of these links. And you can connect with me on my own show, Move by Purpose podcast. I have a lot of really inspiring entrepreneurs and guests on that show that have overcome huge failures, huge losses, major setbacks, and they pushed through it. And so it just really helps to say, if they could do that, so can I. And I know you get a lot of that in your own training. And so that's good. But if you want additional above and beyond, you can connect to the Move by Purpose podcast. Positive affirmations, again, are really, really important to reprogramming your mind and to reminding yourself of the truth, affirming yourself of how significant and valuable you are. If you ever give in to thoughts that you are not significant, that you are not wonderful and valuable and meant to make an impact in this world, you're believing a lot of lies, because do not think small here. You have significance in this world, and what you do is very, very important. So you want to affirm that truth within yourself if you ever start giving into small thinking. For more information on the disc, you can click here and stuff. And feel free to email me. I'm always available to help with any questions you have, any specific cases that you have, any scenarios you have. I'm always happy to hear you. Or maybe this resonated with you and you felt like you're struggling with your own level of security. Another thing I really want to touch on real quick, and is the thought process that if it's hard, it must be a sign that you need to quit. And I want to say that is another lie. And while there is wisdom with knowing when to quit, when you start doing something really powerful, like changing women's lives and empowering them for the better, there's going to be resistance, okay? And I want you to realize that there will be challenges, setbacks. There's going to be moments of heartache and difficulty. But that actually, some of that resistance is actually confirming that you're doing something amazing. So consider the story of, I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Nehemiah and the rebuilding of the wall of Jerusalem. That man went through a lot of resistance. So I encourage you to check it out. And think of the quote. He said, when people were trying to get him to come down and stop what he was doing, he focused and he denied the distraction. And he said, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. So remind yourself of that. I believe that's Nehemiah 6:3. You want to type that up or print that out, put it in front of you when you're tempted to quit. I encourage you to remind yourself of that story and to keep going. And finally, if you feel like there's deeper levels of work here, I do work on wholeness coaching where I help you heal from inner soul wounds and how to just really stop the cycle of self-sabotage, or, there's many patterns of behavior that I've seen. Feel free to reach out to me if you don't want, if you're not sure how to get out of it. I've helped a lot of people break through in this area and walk in victory and in the abundance they're meant to be walking in. And with that, I will close. So I think I am back on now. And let me turn Leah back on. Hold on. I got to get to it. All right. Hello?
Hey.
Hey. Hi. Okay.
Girl, that was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So it was kind of weird just staring at a screen, but
it is weird.
So, yeah. So if anyone has a specific question, you can email me. I want to thank you in advance for filling out that form. That was very insightful to see. Mm-hmm. One of the concerns I saw was feeling like it was a lot of work-life balance issues, or how do I achieve my own goals and run my own business while coaching and motivating my own team. Mm-hmm. And it was really, I love seeing that it was very, the personalities, just the way that these were answered, I was like, okay, there's an S style, because I don't know, it's an anonymous thing. That's an S question. That's an I question. It was very fun to see those answers. So the biggest question was like that work life. How do I motivate my team and motivate and keep focused on my own? My best answer, and I think Leah can answer it much more effectively than I can, but the thing is to stay balanced. And I think leadership is something you will learn with practice and with experience. The best way I learned to lead was to learn from my mistakes and to get in there. And the biggest thing is being coachable. Be open to feedback and be willing to ask questions and to trust in your own director to guide you through that. If you think you can figure it out on your own, or that you've got it, you don't want to burden somebody with your problems, just realize leadership requires vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And the best leaders know how to follow and know how to serve. So.
Right. Well, thank you, Stephanie. That was so good. The more I am in this business and the longer I do this, the more I'm convinced that it's this stuff that you talked about on this hangout today that is what trips people up. The business plan in Mary Kay is simple. Anybody can learn to hold a party. It's not hard to follow a booking script. It's not that stuff that trips people up. It's all the mind stuff and the fear and the baggage that we carry with us emotionally. Mm-hmm. That continues to be the obstacle between us and that next level of success. So thank you for addressing so many of those things. I don't think we can hear this stuff enough, and how valuable it is to process through our mindset and to be aware of our mindset and to be aware of the fears that we face so that we can overcome that to the next level. It's always going to be the obstacle between us and the next level. So thank you for your time.
Yes.
Brilliant. We appreciate it. So
you're welcome.
So yeah.
So we're good. So I will just send you guys that PowerPoint, and you'll have the links and the resources and stuff. So
awesome. Great.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.